Hey Ruth, when do you know that a relationship has run its course?
Gosh, that's a good question. And one I've actually been asked quite a few times doing this work over the years I've been doing this work. And yeah, it's a difficult one to answer because there's a whole load of things that can come together that make you realize a relationship is at an end. And one thing for me, which is really important, is noticing when that energetic level between you and your partner seems to dissipate. And often that comes with that emotional connection breaking down. When I say that, I'm talking more about when you start to feel quite indifferent to your partner. And that means I don't really care. Am I that bothered about what they do? Am I bothered about what they say? Am I bothered about spending time with them? It's being quite indifferent to your partner. And that's a really big clue. Doesn't mean to say it's at the end of the relationship, because like all relationships, you're going to go through ups and downs. So the important thing is, if you're starting to feel like you're growing apart, you're starting to feel indifferent, is always to check in with your partner if you're able to do that. And again, it's back to that same old thing of communication. Talk to them. Ask them, where do you think you're at in the relationship? Are you happy? Are we happy? It doesn't necessarily mean to say it's at the end of a relationship, but it is always about checking out and making sure that you're on the right path with your partner. And it might be that they feel pretty indifferent too. So it might be that you are growing away from each other and that you decide to end the relationship and be friends. But sometimes that doesn't happen. Sometimes it can be quite an acrimonious breakup, especially if one partner wants to leave and the other one doesn't. It's a really difficult question to answer in a quick TikTok. But the one thing I would really stress is really be mindful of how you're feeling, that real instinct about, is this right for me? Is this what I want? And I think that's the most important thing, is to really start and ask yourself questions. Is this relationship right for me? That's what I would say.
And I want to add to that also that the next stage after indifference is contempt. And once contempt sets in, that's much harder to come back from. Maybe indifference, one can work at the relationship if both halves want to.
Very true.
But when one person starts developing contempt for the other, that's not a good sign.
It moves on, and that's when it moves on to that to the next level. And with contempt, often you can find you start getting into more arguments, and then there's the potential for a lot of conflict and volatility. And that's absolutely what nobody needs in a relationship, and that is certainly not healthy. But yeah, to try and work out before you get to that stage of contempt would be really good. And again, back to that same old thing of communicate, talk to your partner if you're able to. Anyway, I'd love to know what you think about, have you been through a relationship that you've, stayed in it just because you didn't know what to do? I'd really be interested to hear your thoughts, or whether you've managed to get yourself out of a relationship because it just wasn't working for you. But yeah, I'd love to hear your comments. Continue watching our TikToks, not TikToks, and Instagram. Thanks.